To quote Stan the man himself, what is up, true believers? Welcome to Build. I'm your host, Matt Forte, and we're here live at the Build studio in New York City. Folks, I don't know that there's ever been a better time to be a Marvel fan than right now. The cinematic universe is clearly in its golden age. That's my opinion. You got Spider-Man for PS4 on the way. The actual comics are some of the best they've ever been, and they've just recently launched a ton of amazing digital content. It's hard for me to fathom how any one person could possibly be an expert in all of these things. So imagine my excitement when I found out I'd actually get to hang out with two of them. That's right. From the podcast This Week in Marvel, Ancient M himself, Ryan Penagos is here. And from Marvel's Earth's Mightiest Show, the great Lorraine Cink is in the house. How about that, guys? Come on. That's amazing. It's exciting, right? I'm excited. They're excited. I imagine you're excited as well. We're going to bring them out in just a second. But before we do, I feel like watching the Ant-Man and Wasp trailer one more time. So let's go ahead and run that clip. Come on, bring it up.
So, how long have you been Ant-Man again?
Not long. It just sort of happened.
I wish I could fight bad guys like you.
I seem to mess it up almost every time.
Maybe you just need someone watching your back. Hi. Like a partner.
Dr. Pym, I actually heard what happened to you. You opened up the quantum realm. That's when this crazy creepy ghost would walks through walls and stuff. Stole your tech. And now she wants to take over the world or whatever. Who would have believed that in your hour of need, you would turn to us?
Not me.
Because we robbed you. Do you remember? That's us.
The only chance we've got is both of you. Ant-Man and the Wasp teaming up.
Follow my lead.
She seems more intense.
You go low, I'll go high.
I have wings. Why would I go low?
We're gonna die. I don't want to die. We didn't die.
Hey, what'd I miss?
We were just tiny.
It takes two to make a thing go right.
I was partners with Hank on a project called Goliath.
How big did you get?
My record, 21 feet. You?
65 feet.
65.
If you two are finished comparing sizes,
65.
Oh, man, ladies and gentlemen, make some noise. Ryan Penagos, Lorraine Cink. Come on. Oh. I was saying this while we were watching it. Even just like the art of the perfect trailer has been mastered over there. I'm so excited. I've got two questions. I want to get into this in a minute, but first, the beauty of Build. We've got a minute or two. Ryan, Lorraine, how are you guys doing? How are you?
We're great.
Yeah?
I'm going to speak for you.
Yeah, thank you. You came in on a red eye back from LA yesterday. I came in from a red eye LA this morning. And I feel terrific. I do. Yeah. I actually do. It's been fun. We've been doing a bunch of stuff at Marvel already today. We shot a bunch of fun things, and so it's been a good day.
Yeah, and these past couple weeks have been really exciting because we had Marvel's Luke Cage drop last week, and we did our live stream there, and then I went out to LA to do Marvel Studios' Ant-Man and the Wasp premiere on the red carpet. And so we've been doing tons of that. It's just crazy.
This month in general, I mean, the past couple of weeks, we had Avengers a little while back, Cloak and Dagger, then we had Luke Cage, now we get Ant-Man. We're like right in the eye of the perfect Marvel storm right now. So how many red eyes have you had to take over the past couple of weeks? Are you going a lot back and forth, just trying to keep up?
Infinity.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't even know at this point. They see me, they're like, oh, Mr. Penagos, good, just go on in, you're gonna be fine. Just pick a seat, whatever.
Come on in, Mr. Bernard. Right this way, Agent M. Right this way. Well, I'm really excited and thankful and grateful that you guys took some time to come hang out with us. This is fantastic to have you here. It's so cool to have you here, especially right now at this time with so much going on. Like I said, Only a couple of questions. The first one I'll ask, if you could, in as much and graphic detail as possible, describe the ending of the film and if there's anything kind of a twist. Can you do that for me? Can you?
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. Okay, here we go, guys. We're going to have it all spoiled. Right? You ready? This is it.
It's just between us and everyone in there. Okay, you know what?
The Marvel snipers would not like
Okay, you know what?
Yeah, no.
You know what? We'll come back to that one. I have a backup. I figured you wouldn't be able to answer that. I have a backup here. Talk to me about sizes of characters. These characters specifically, sizes tend to fluctuate throughout the history, the Marvel history. And I'm just wondering where Ant-Man and the Wasp literally fit in within the Marvel universe.
Well, the Wasp is about 5'4".
Okay.
And Ant-Man is about 6 foot, but they both shrink down past microscopic levels.
Beyond smaller than small, then smaller than small, then smaller than small. So small. SMOL. Small.
Yeah. So small. Well, Nadia Van Dyne in the comics, she is one of the Wasps in comic lore, actually shrinks down so small that time behaves in a different way. So that's how crazy small she can get.
Unfathomably small.
Yeah, and one of our writers on the comics is actually, he's got a degree, Mark Wade, he's got a degree in physics, so he's putting his scientific knowledge to actual use in a practical capacity, writing the book right now, Ant-Man and the Wasp, which is terrific, and they're just defying the laws of quantum physics in that book.
Talk about making mom proud, right? See, I'm using it.
But then, you talk about sizes, though, we go way up. Huge.
Oh, yes.
Celestials and Galactus.
Right, well, you got to think in Guardians of the Galaxy, the celestial head is an actual planet.
Yeah.
So that's just like to give you some idea of scale.
It is pretty wild how far to which extremes the pendulum swings. There's a really cool video I was watching on Marvel.com that just posted recently, right, about sizes, I think.
I wrote that.
Did you really?
I did, yeah.
You did a fantastic job.
Well, thanks.
Thank you for that video. The other thing I wanted to ask you about, because this is a huge deal, and I'm really excited about it, and I want to hear kind of your perspective and what you think about the significance of, here we have the Wasp, finally, for the first time, and just talk about what that character means coming to the big screen and seeing it in this format. And having the Wasp in this way, what does that mean, and what is that like?
I mean, the Wasp is a founding Avenger, right? So
she named the Avengers.
Yeah, she is so important to the Marvel universe, Marvel history, Marvel lore, that it's, as Hope says at the end of the first movie, it's about damn time. And it's awesome. And
she's actually, in comic book lore, was the first female chairperson of the Avengers. So everybody thinks of it as Captain America, but she was the first woman to lead that team.
I did not realize that.
Yeah, she kicks many butts.
She's a bouse.
This is my favorite thing about...
Yeah, bouse, with an A.
Cool.
This is the favorite thing, because there's different levels of fandom. It's all one big community and one big family, but I always love those moments, and this is why I love your shows, which we'll get to in a little bit, but it's just like, I think I know something, and then there's always this one little tidbit, and it's like, I did not know that. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I was doing some secret thing yesterday, and we were talking about characters, and Wolverine was part of this discussion. I was like, I'm really excited because he's comic accurate. He's like 5'2" or 2-ish, and they're like, he's that small. I'm like, in the comics, well, he was a small guy, and that made him part of his character.
And why it made him so easy to throw in a fastball special. That's really a thing. You toss him.
It's because of his diminutive size.
Yeah.
For me, one of the things that's really exciting about the Wasp, I was talking about this. We had Simone Missick here last week, and we were talking about Misty and all these fun things. And, between a character like the Wasp, a character like Misty Knight, the response you see about with the Dora Milaje, like all these different things, it's so exciting. And I was thanking her that when I do hope to have kids one day, and if I have a daughter, I love the idea that she'll grow up with as diverse and badass a stable of characters that I had, when I was a kid. And it's a pretty amazing and cool thing. And then I found out, Lorraine, you've got a book kind of about this that's coming out. Is that right? You've been working on that?
Yeah. I have a book coming in February called Powers of a Girl. And it's about different female superheroes from the Marvel Universe. And it teaches sort of inspirational, empowering lessons. It's a YA book, so appropriate for kids. And that's it, to empower and inspire.
Yeah, I saw a celebration of 30 Marvel super. How did you, with your expertise and the depth of your knowledge, how did you arrive at that list of 30? What was the original number?
Well, let me tell you, I snuck in a lot of extras. Yeah, there are much more than 30 included, but there are 30 really spotlighted and delved into with their backstories. You know, like when you talk about the Runaways, you can't just talk about Gert, although I could for many hours because I really love her, but you also need to include Nico and Carolina and the other characters that are integral to that group. So there will be many, but to narrow it down was a really hard, long conversation with my editor. But ultimately, it was like, who are the most integral women to our universe? That's who it's got to be.
That's who it's got to be.
Yeah.
How long was that process for you to arrive at this book? When did you start working on it?
It's been about 6 months, so it's been a really quick process.
That's amazing.
So a lot of hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing. All right, so 6 months, and then while all that's
7,
going
yeah.
on, you've got all this other stuff happen as well. All right, well, here's my follow-up question for both of you. How much, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you miss sleeping? Because I assume that you no longer do that. There's no way, right? Like, how do you possibly do all these things?
You just do it. You have
do
fun.
it, yeah.
I have cats, and they help just like knock me right out. Like they curl up, a little bit of purring. I'm out like a light every night.
Yeah, I get up at 5 every morning usually to work for a couple of hours before I go to work.
You're insane.
And to write. And then I usually do a couple more hours after that. So just pure fortitude and caffeine.
That's the way to do it. I also, like I was saying earlier in the intro, it's like the best time to be a fan of Marvel because there's so many amazing things going on. And a lot of the amazing stuff is the work that you guys are putting out. I mean, we get to see it, the red carpets, and that's a lot of fun. But also you have these amazing podcasts and shows on Marvel. I believe we have some clips from both of your shows, from This Week in Marvel and Earth's Mightiest Show.
Yeah. I certainly hate looking at myself, so I'm excited for that.
Perfect. Let's, if we can get in real tight, that would be great. So we can just blow that up and then put that on. We're going to take a look at those clips, and I want to come back and talk to you about these awesome shows. Let's go ahead and run those.
I'm going to ask you guys questions about each other. The first question is, what is Aubrey's favorite snack on set?
Wait, we write it, not draw it, right?
You just draw it.
Oh, we just draw it. Or we just write it?
We just write it.
Okay.
See, I already started drawing.
Or you can draw it.
I'm just going to write it.
I'm going to write it.
All right. So, Olivia, what do you think Aubrey's favorite on-set snack is?
Well, dearest Aubrey loves to stay hydrated.
I do.
So he likes to drink Sprite.
Okay, tons of Sprite.
He always has a Sprite in his
I don't
hand.
know if she's correct, but she is.
Yeah, but she's very correct.
She is.
Very good.
Drawing the Sprite can.
Oh my God, you're gonna draw it? That's my favorite thing.
I'm trying to redeem myself. Last time I drew, it did not work, so.
You'll get your chance. You'll get your chance, I promise.
Right.
This issue comes out, X Factor number 105. And in the back is the letters pages, Exchanges. And there's a letter in here by Christopher Paul Gethard. What was going through your head as a kid at that point?
I was just so sad when Madrox died. I can't tell you, I loved this X Factor run so much. You have to remember the historical context if I want to be a big nerd. X-Men are like the big kids on the block in the whole world of comics and increasingly in pop culture. Then all of a sudden you got X Factor, which is always been maybe not the crown jewel of the X family. All the outcasts and B characters, put them in their own book, have them sort of acknowledge that they're not the kingpins. So to a kid who felt like an outcast and a kid who wanted to be funny, this was built for me.
I love these shows. All right, so first of all, Earth's Mighty Show, that's Thursdays on Marvel.com.
It
right?
sure is.
Sure is. And This Week in Marvel, that's Fridays on Marvel.com.
Yeah, new episode today, new episode.
One of the things that I love, Ryan, about This Week in Marvel specifically is what I was saying earlier of like, I think I know something. I think I know a thing or two. I'm more than just casual, more than just a passing fan. But that show always has little tidbits, and it's also simultaneously accessible if you don't know anything. You're making recommendations for comics. This is a great way to get into it because there's so much stuff. It can be daunting. And you guys do a great job of sort of narrowing the scope and focus. Like, if you're into this thing, you should check this out this week. Was that always the mission of the show? I think you're on like your 300 and somethingth episode now.
Yeah, we're gonna hit 350 in like 2 weeks,
That's
which is really exciting and fun. I just wanted to do something that I was excited about, and being a Marvel fan for over 30 years was like, what can I tell people about my knowledge and my excitement that gets them to want to check things out. And one of my favorite things is we talk about a book, and then I'll get a tweet or an Instagram message or an email or something from a fan who's like, I checked out this book, and it's amazing. We had one who just said they started reading Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, which I know you love. Because I freaked out about the most recent issue in the book and explained why it was so important and some of the history of the characters and different things. And they were like, I just started reading it on Marvel Unlimited, and now I'm hooked. And that is the thing that I always want. I want people to get hooked because I'm so excited about Marvel.
I know I joked about this earlier about not sleeping and all that, but realistically, give me an honest answer. How much content are you guys having to consume? Because a part of your job is to be that guide, to sort of be that person that's like, here's this great thing that I discovered and all that. So you have to go out and discover. If you had to put a number on it, how many things are you reading? How many things are you watching? How many things are you playing? What's it look like in a week?
So we put out 15 to 20 comics, new issues a week. I think last week it was 21. Next week it's 18. So I read every single comic. I play a couple of our mobile games. I play a couple of our other games, which I can't talk about. Yeah. I watch our TV shows. I was on a flight last night, and then came back, and apparently there was an Agent M, a little Easter egg in the latest episode of Marvel's Cloak and Dagger. So I have to catch up on that because I only watched the first 4. So I try to keep up as much as I can.
Yeah, I mean, when I started, we had 0 TV shows. Now I think we have 14 or 15 TV shows, and we're on our 20th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Marvel Studios' Ant-Man and the Wasp is the 20th.
Number 20, huh?
Yeah.
My God. Yeah. What's your regimen like? If he's reading all the books, what are you doing to keep up?
I'm trying to keep up with him. I'm trying to read all of the books and do all of the things.
You could just listen to This Week in Marvel and Marvel's The Pull List to find out about everything.
I will say, when I first started, Ryan was already there, and he has such passion for comics. It's one of the things that made me even more in love with comics, because I was already obviously a huge Marvel fan when I came aboard, but you do have such passion for it, and it's really exciting and inspiring to be around all the time.
Yeah, and then we just did the Luke Cage, the premiere. We worked together, and I know having Lorraine beside me, she's gonna have all kinds of knowledge, and I don't have to worry. It's really good because she's written multiple books about Marvel, so she can talk about my knowledge, but you got it in spades.
Well, that's just it. You guys.
There's so much love. It's so nice.
Your hands are so. Why are your hands always so cold?
My blood is made of ice.
Ryan,
every
that
time.
was such a sweet moment. Why did you recoil?
No,
touch his arm. Touch his arm.
I have horrifying cadaver hands.
To be fair, they are a little cold. But that could be our fault. We run cold in here. It could be us.
I prefer it. It's nice.
I'm a warm Colombian man. Can't help it.
Well, you kind of answered my question of having her by your side. You guys, you work very well together, and you do sort of fill in the gaps for one another. Do you ever do that throughout the week? Like, I didn't have time to read this. Did you read this? And you kind of go back and forth. What was it like? What did you think of it? Do you ever do that to kind of help along?
Well, I think...
Sounds like you read everything, but what do you think?
Oh, yeah. I read most everything, too, but I think whenever we're together and we do something on camera, it's like, oh, I know this. Oh, I know this. Okay, you take this, you take this. I know more about this, you know more about this. And it's always just like a really fun shared effort, and we just fill in each other's gaps.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
Talk to me about, we saw a clip, Lorraine, from Earth's Mightiest Show, and we had Cloak and Dagger, we had them here as well. They were fantastic. Yeah. But what I do love about your show is these fun games that you guys play with everybody, and the way everybody kind of lets their guard down, and you get to see their fandom, you get to see their side, and like why they are in the position they're in. You know, they're not just great actors and performers, they're also fans in a lot of cases as well. Is there a trick to creating that environment, to bringing them in and making them feel like, oh, you can do this, you can draw a can of Sprite, you can have fun while you're here?
Well, we do try to write something new for everybody. I write the show, and so we're always like, oh, we had Mayim Bialik on, and she has a PhD in science, or in neuroscience.
Sure does.
So we're like, okay, well, she loves Wolverine, she loves Marvel heroes. Let's try to marry those two things together, and we'll have her psychoanalyze our teen heroes. So that's what we made her do, and sort of explain what they should be doing to help with the growing pains of turning into a squirrel girl, or whatever it is.
As you do.
As you do. So yeah, we really tried to specify it to every single person who comes in, and just make it in their specialty, but with its own little fun twist.
That's really cool. You guys do a great job. What's the dream get? What's the white whale? What's the guest to end all guests? Anybody in the world.
You know, I don't know. I've talked to Stan Lee so many times, and he's just the best.
I'm going to pick up that name you just dropped right there. I'm just going to grab that.
That's
Stan.
what I thought of too, because
talk to Stan.
Yeah, well, the first time I talked to Stan, we were
so amazing.
We were at a Comic-Con and he was coming in and I was going to do the interview, and Ryan was like, "You got this. I'm going to step out or whichever. You can do your first interview with Stan." And I was like, "I might cry." Yeah. And he was like, "Don't cry." And I was like, "But I want to cry." I didn't cry, so.
The first time I met him was 2007. He was just sitting in the back of our booth at San Diego, and I was like, "Hello, Mr. Lee. Can I just have a picture with you, sir, please?" And he was like, "Come on over." And it was like, he was great.
Yeah. Did he call you a true believer?
Probably.
Most likely.
Probably.
More than likely.
Yeah.
All right. So if we could, we get Stan back. That's
Stan's great. Doing so many episodes of This Week in Marvel and doing all the shows that we've done. We've talked to so many people like Glenn Danzig. I had him and he told this story about going out to LA and living with Jack and Roz Kirby in the a couple decades ago, and I was just like, this is the coolest thing, because this singer for the Misfits telling me about Jack Kirby, who's my favorite artist, and all these things. It's just wonderful.
Yeah, that's all right. Well, there it is. That's the answer, isn't it? That's as cool as it gets. We're going to turn it over to audience Q&A in a second. I don't want to run out of time for them. It's very important to me we get those questions, but it's also important to me to know what can you tell us, SDCC, my friends? This is it. This is the big show. What's going on? Can you tell us anything about the plans? What's going to be there? What's not going to be there? What are you guys doing?
Well, we'll be there all week long live streaming from Marvel.com. We're going to be having lots of exclusive guests to the con from some of our Marvel's television shows. There's going to be tons of panels. I'm sure some cool announcements out of those.
Yeah, I usually host a couple panels. One of them might be a live episode of This Week in Marvel, if all things fall into place. We do a lot of stage stuff, so it's great for the fans who get to come to San Diego, and we can interact with them, but it's also great because people can watch, and we're trying to interact with them on social media and talking with them. Every year, we have one woman who watches from Spain, Sophia. She watches every live stream we do, and she is like, if she doesn't tweet us during a convention, I will get worried.
Oh, absolutely. And also, we get to do live versions of our shows. Like, we're going to do Earth's Mightiest Show live on stage, which is always a blast, and we interact with the audience, and we make them do fun, crazy things. So I always look forward to that.
Well, I'm gonna take a shot in the dark here. Sophia, where are we? Give me a light. What camera are we on? Sophia, if you're out there, all right, tweet us a question right now. Somebody will try and find it. We'll try to squeeze it in under the wire. And if you're not out there and you're watching this later, hi, Sophia. Hello from the past. So let's go ahead. We've got some questions in the room. First one I think is going to be right here. Here you go, sir.
Hello. Remember from seeing you from The Watcher. Big fan of that. And I love Cloak and Dagger. Brilliant. First, two questions I got to ask. One is that with everything you're doing right now, like what's going to be in the future? And also, Marvel versus Capcom. Will there ever be a comic book for that game? There needs to be one.
Those questions are always the hardest to ask, is like, will there be something? Because that's the beauty of Marvel and the beauty of like working in entertainment and stuff. The possibilities are near endless. Especially Marvel, we have over 9,000 characters. So what's possible in the future is everything, new characters are created literally every week. And it's the coolest thing when you start seeing them in our video games, in our television shows, and we get to talk about them.
Yeah, and I do think that Marvel really listens to their fans. Like, Gwenpool was a cover. That was not supposed to be a comic series necessarily. She was a variant cover that was like a take on Gwen Stacy mixed with Gwenpool, her sitting in a pool. And then she became her own series, so you never know.
Yeah. As for the other question, I don't know. We'll see. Wait and see, true believer.
When you said, this may sound cheesy, but when you said everything's possible, I literally got goosebumps. I was like, oh, everything's possible.
But think about it.
It's so what's so cool about being a fan in this universe, in this world. And I was thinking too, when he's asking those, I already knew. I was like, you can't tell us if those things are going to happen. And it was like, I don't want to know, actually, because this is the closest as an adult that I get to Santa Claus, right? Like, I don't know what's coming. I can't know what's coming. And when it arrives, it's beautiful and it's a wonderful surprise, and I get to experience it with the rest of the world. This isn't a question. I was just thinking these things while you were answering. So, yeah, there we go.
I'm a huge video game player. I love video games, and I've been playing them since, the NES, arcade, like all that stuff. I was playing one of our upcoming video games, and the experience I had, I was like, how is this possible? from where we came from and what we're doing now and what's possible in the future and the characters we get to experience in these ways, it's incredible. I'm so happy.
It's a good time to be alive. All right, we've got a couple of more. Next one's going to come from right here. Go for it.
Hello, my name is Wimsad Mojo. My heart is beating right now. My first question is, what's the most enjoyable part about hosting, doing interviews, and working at Marvel's? Because you guys are just always having the time of your life. And the second question is, regarding that it's the summer, if you guys could binge watch one TV series for the rest of your life, what would it be? Thank you.
Rest of our lives.
Wow.
How dare you?
You get one.
This is some.
That's a cold question, man. That is.
It's colder than jail.
Ooh. Okay, well, the fun thing about working at Marvel
is getting paid.
Is getting paid to work there.
So great.
Well, but that's the thing too, is we get to read all of the comics, watch all the stuff, do all the things for work.
Yeah.
Like that's our job.
It's crazy.
That's dope. I mean, that's a cool gig.
Prep work means reading comics and watching stories and talking to your coworkers about, like the various stories. That is how we get prepared for anything that we do. I write 7 pages of notes every week for This Week in Marvel. And that's just me being like, oh my God, I got so excited. And like my producer's back there and he knows I freak out every week because I'm so excited about the stories. That's just what it is.
Yeah.
What was binge watch? Oh gosh, why?
I mean,
do you go with something you love or something you haven't seen, right? What do you do? What do you?
I mean, Luke Cage is great, but like if we're, outside of Marvel, there's so many things.
There's so many. Yeah, there's a whole. I mean, I would say most recently Marvel's Runaways. I'm a huge Runaways fan, just of the comic. I love that storyline. I love those characters, and I just want to watch it all the time because so many feels. So
yeah, Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because there's a lot of it as well.
True.
So like, and the progression that all the characters have, their arcs, and what happens to them through all those seasons is really.
But also, we haven't seen all of Marvel's Cloak and Dagger. I'm a cadaver inside. There's so many.
Yeah.
We'll take all the Netflix series, all the ABC series, all the Hulu series. We'll take all of those series.
So your answer is
everything.
All the TV.
Yeah.
No, that's good.
Oh,
I like that one. We'll take all the TV.
Choose all.
Done. All
Perfect.
the TV.
Yeah.
That was cool, man. Thank you for that question. We've got time for, it looks like one more. It's going to come from right here. Go for it.
Hi, my name is Victor. I'm a big Marvel fan ever since I was a little kid. And as the new movie Ant-Man and the Wasp comes out in a week from today, how will it be different than the first Ant-Man?
Well, it's Ant-Man and the Wasp, so you're going to get a lot of Wasp.
A lot of Wasp.
She's friggin' awesome.
She kicks all of the butts. I mean, I think that's the thing that's so cool is we get to see her step up. I actually got to talk to Michael Douglas a little bit about the film. And one of the things that I love that he said is at the end of the first Ant-Man film, he watched Evangeline Lilly, the actress who plays the Wasp, see the unveil of the costume for the first time when they filmed. And so he got to see her both as the character and as the actor unveiling that costume and to see that magic of like the possibility. So I think that possibility coming to life is the biggest thing.
We first saw the movie, like 2 months ago?
Yeah. Well,
and so that point, it was super funny. I remember I was sitting next to you and I made one remark and you looked at me and you're like, because I was laughing so hard. I think it's actually funnier than the first movie.
It is.
Which is surprising because I dug the crap out of the first one.
Hilarious, yeah.
You guys have, this isn't your first rodeo, but has that, at any point, was that the hardest part of the gig, is that you would see something so far, 2 months in advance, and you'd get so excited about it, and who could you talk to? You couldn't tell the world. You had only each other, really. But like, is that a hard part to be in on it that early, or no, that's the best part?
So
it's both?
So I worked at a magazine beforehand, real quick, and so my first meeting at this magazine was called Wizard Magazine, and the first meeting I had, we were planning out coverage for 3 months ahead of time. And I came in and I had, wide-eyed fan, just reading comics and not knowing anything. And they spoiled the ending of one of the biggest comics that was going at the time that still had 8 more issues to go out of a 12-issue storyline. They spoiled the ending because we were talking about the future coverage in the magazine. And I was like, what are you doing? You can't spoil that. And he said, shut up. Everything you ever love is going to be spoiled for you for the rest of your life. And that was it. And that was the moment I was like, okay, I'm fine. I could keep these secrets. The end. And that's where I am at.
But I actually like it because a lot of times we see the movies before the trailers are really out. So then you have nothing spoiled for you also when you get to go in that early.
I just love that quote. Everything you've ever loved is going to be spoiled. Because when you talk to anyone that stars on one of the Marvel shows, they have this wonderful story of how they get the phone call and they go, we have 3 words that are going to change your life. Welcome to Marvel. It's a totally different quote than what you got, which was everything you know and love is ruined from now until the end of time, and we're going to spoil it all. And you were like, ah, man, I'm in. I love it.
But it makes me appreciate the journey that we have with the stories that we tell.
Totally.
And so much.
It's a different perspective on it, for sure.
And I also think it's not necessarily how it ends. It depends on how you get there.
Yeah, the journey's a big part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, guys, obviously we could do this all day. I really, really enjoy having you here, and I want to thank everybody here for the wonderful questions, being an awesome audience. But I gotta let you go. Before we get out of here, let's just run down the list, man. We've got, of course, Ant-Man and the Wasp, July 6th. I'm sorry, Marvel Studios Ant-Man and the Wasp.
You got it.
That's right, July 6th.
Dude.
Nailed it. We've got This Week in Marvel, Fridays on Marvel.com. We've got Earth's Mightiest Show, Thursdays on Marvel.com. Lorraine, your book is coming when? Should we keep an eye on it?
February.
2019. I could really, there's so many amazing things coming out. Just go to Marvel.com, guys. There's so many great things. There's always great things there. One more time, put your hands together. Make a ridiculous amount of noise for Lorraine and Ryan right here. Come on.